Joining me now is Becky Blaine, managing editor of The Points Guy, and MS Now senior transportation reporter Josh Einiger. So, Becky, experts had already been predicting a chaotic summer travel season. According to the travel booking site Kayak, in April, the average domestic round-trip airfare was up 18% compared to last year. And a part of that is obviously the rising fuel costs. But let's talk about the shutdown of Spirit and what that might mean to travelers in the coming months.
Yeah, so we were already anticipating the higher fuel costs going into the summer, and we'd already seen prices rising on many domestic and international routes. But now with the loss of an ultra low cost carrier, and you really had them for the last 30 plus years driving down prices on many popular routes, that stands to be that, prices could be rising as we head into the busy summer season.
Yeah, that's exactly what the New York Times wrote about how Spirit's presence at an airport helped keep fares down. So what does it mean to not have a major budget airline anymore? Could there be long-term effects, not only on consumers, but on the industry overall? I mean, I guess maybe the question I'm asking, are low-cost carriers in an age of very high fuel prices dead?
I don't want to speculate on kind of the business model of low-cost carriers, but I will say it is a loss for the American public. They really democratized air travel in a lot of ways and made air travel affordable for people who might not have gotten on a plane at all in their life at some point yet. And for $19 or $39 or $49, they could jump on a plane and go, pretty much anywhere in the country and see places that they had not seen before. So that directly impacts the tourism economy in many locations around the country. It's a loss for the traveling public not having additional choices when it comes to booking airfare. And it's a loss for those destinations that until, someone comes in and picks up those routes, they might see a reduction in passengers temporarily.
So, Josh, a few of those major airlines have been freezing fares on those routes. Exactly what Sean Duffy says. They're doing the right thing. We don't know how long it'll last, but tell us about it.
They're all working together. First of all, Chris, it's important to know that Spirit had about 4% of the market share across the country. So there aren't that many people to absorb into the system. And yes, the major airlines are, first of all, they're matching fares to a certain extent for about a week or two if you can show that you have a ticket on Spirit or you had a ticket on Spirit. And they've said in routes like New York to Fort Lauderdale, that was a big Spirit heavy route, they're going to keep fares pretty low. And then the other thing that's happening pretty quickly is that other low-cost carriers are coming into markets that were served by Spirit. So Atlantic City, New Jersey, which is this tiny little airport that has almost no service, Spirit flew there. Just in the last day, Breeze, which is another ultra low-cost carrier, has come in to fly some of the routes that Spirit was flying. Now, obviously, they weren't cash cows. Spirit couldn't make it work, but at least the system is adjusting without Spirit.
So, Becky, here's the $6 million question, or maybe it's a $600 question. What's your advice to anyone who's still looking to book flights, obviously for the summer travel season, but I've already heard people talking about, well, maybe if I'm going home for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Do we have any sense where these fares are going since we don't really know where fuel prices are going?
Yeah, I think still there's a lot that remains to be seen in regards to the fuel price and what ticket prices might look like for Thanksgiving travel, for instance. So what we recommend is starting to research prices now. Get on Google Flights, set some route alerts, and make sure that you're getting those emails and tracking that airfare. It'll show you historically what the best airfare is and what that price range should be. And then it'll also send you an email and say, this looks like the best price, it's time to book. There's also some additional tools that you can use. We talk about them on thepointsguy.com that can monitor airfare for you. And if the price drops, you could then rebook, or you could look to get a refund through some new programs that are on the market. So there's a lot of great ways that travelers can kind of protect themselves as they look to, spend money on airfare and make sure that they're getting the best price possible when they book.
Yeah, I just rebooked a flight for the end of this year that I saved myself some money. But let me ask you overall what you're hearing from people who work for the airlines. Is there a sense of angst? Not necessarily directly related to Spirit, but everything seems to be roiling.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, the Spirit employees, there are somewhere between 14 and some might say as many as 20,000 people who are now out of work. And Chris, I mean, if you and I lost our job, we'd have COBRA benefits for a year and a half. They only have it for less than a month. So
what?
Yeah, that's part of the bankruptcy proceeding. So no, for them, they have to now apply for other jobs and be at the bottom of the seniority list. Other airline workers, look, it's a very, very tenuous time. JetBlue is not doing so well either. They haven't turned a profit since 2019. The jet fuel spike has really, really thrown all of these carriers for a loop. Only the ones that have been minting money with these, big lie flat seats and charging a lot for very premium services, they're the ones that are in the best situation. But really, all the airlines, the whole industry right now is watching what's going on, and people are really crossing their fingers that it all goes well.
Josh Einiger, Becky Blain, thank you both.